Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to crochet an African violet. And first I want to show you what the finished product looks like. This is one. I have done 68 of these and I am crocheting them together into a blanket. I'm sure you'll see a lot of pictures of this on my Instagram if you go check that out. So this is my edge of my blanket. I'm still working on sewing them all together. I just totally freestyled this and made up this kind of like way I'm connecting them together. You can use these for all kinds of different projects. There's lots of patterns that have, like, you can even make like stuffed animals and really cool stuff with these. I think I might make some more out of cotton and use them for coasters in my new house too. So we'll see. They're really fun to make. So that is what the finished product is gonna look like. All right, so let's get that out of the way. And I'll show you how to make this. This is gonna be an epically long video, I think, because I'm gonna show you the whole thing, because I don't plan to make a pattern for this. So I'm just going to show you how to do it. All right, so first off, let's dive right in with a slip knot. And next, we're going to do 5 chains. And I am using worsted weight yarn. This is a really good stash buster. I actually have successfully busted my stash. Okay, so 5 slip knot, 5 chains, and then do a slip stitch in your first chain to join. All right, so now we've got kind of our circle that's going to be the center, and we're going to chain up 3. And this counts kind of like your first double crochet, this chain 3. And then we're going to double crochet in the middle of those chains we just did. Okay. So we've got a chain 3 and a double crochet. Now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to do 2 more double crochets. Chain 1, do 2 double crochets. Okay, and we're gonna do actually 6 sets like this. So we'll end up with 1, 2, 3. I have 3 sets done so far. We're gonna do this 3 more times. So I will do that and meet you back here. Okay, so now I have made a total of 11 double crochets and 1 3 chain that counts as a double crochet. And so there's kind of like, and there's a 1 chain in between each 2 double crochets going around. And now I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the top of my chain 3, just right about there. Okay, and then I'm gonna actually fasten this off because I'm done with the center of my flower. So part of these, the fun part of these is all of the ends you need to weave in. But that is part of the job where you have so many colors. You're gonna need 4 or 5 different colors of yarn depending on how you're doing this. So I like to do each layer a different color. All right, so that's the center of your flower. Just so you can see, this is now this center part, okay? So it doesn't look quite like it's gonna look when it's finished, but it'll get more shape as you put, this is kind of like the center of the flower, and now I'm gonna do the petals. All right, our next step here is to join our second color. And I'm gonna do what's called a standing double crochet. So I have a slip knot on my hook here, and I'm going to poke through the chain 1 space that is to the right of where I ended my last round. Oh, whoops. Okay, before I do that, in order to do the standing double crochet, I need to wrap it around my hook like you would in a double crochet. And then it's kind of tricky to keep a hold of it, but you can do it. And then pull it through. So you're doing like a double crochet like that. So now I'm going to do another double crochet and a chain and 2 more double crochets in this same space. All right. Come on, little yarny, give me some slack here. Okay. All right, so it looks like this. Now I'm going to go over to the next space that I made with a chain 1. So this is my chain 3 and my double crochet from my first round. I'm going to wrap around so I can do a double crochet over here. So I'm going to repeat this same pattern where I do 2 double crochets and 1 chain, and then 2 more double crochets. All right. And then I go to the next chain 1 space. And same thing. So I'm going to end up with, again, 6 sets of this pattern here, where it's 2 double crochets, 1 chain, 2 more double crochets in those 6 chain 1 spaces of my yellow yarn here that I used in my first round. Okay, so I will finish that up. I'll do 3 more here, and then I'll come back to show you the next step. Okay, so here we are. I have done this pattern 6 times of 2 double crochets, 1 chain, 2 double crochets, and now I'm finished with this round. So the next thing to do is to just slip stitch in the top of my first standing double crochet, which is right here. Okay. And now I'm done with that round, but I'm not going to change colors yet. I'm going to make the top part of the petal. So this is kind of a tricky thing right here where you need to move your hook over into the first chain 1. So I had those 2 double crochets, and then there's a chain 1 and 2 more double crochets. I'm going into the chain 1 and kind of wrapping around, and I'm just pulling up a loop. See, this is how it goes for everybody. Pull up a loop and pull through. It's kind of like a slip stitch. Okay. So now I'm going to be working a bunch more stitches into this space right here. So I'm going to do 3 chains. And again, this 3 chain is going to count as a double crochet. And then I'm going to do 6 more double crochets in this same space. And this makes the look of the flower petal. So there's going to be 7, kind of. You're counting 7, even though there's really 6 double crochets and chain 3. And I seriously can't count to 7, especially when I'm talking. So I always, like, even when I've made so many of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1 more. Okay. So there we have 7 double crochets. So you might have guessed by now that we need to do this 5 more times. We're doing 6 total. So what we're going to do is wrap around your hook and go put your hook into the next chain 1 space. So you're going to skip over like 4 double crochets, and then you're going to go into the chain 1 space from your next round. Okay. You don't do a chain or anything like that in between. So now you're just going to dive straight into doing your 7 double crochets in that chain 1 space. You're going to do that in all 6 of the chain 1 spaces. I'm in number 2 right now. So you're going to do this 6 times total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm going to do this 4 more times now and then show you the next step. All right, so I have just finished doing my 7 double crochets in each of the chain 1 spaces from my last round, and now I'm done with my purple. So I'm going to slip stitch in the first, and this is actually the chain 3 that I did in the very first round here. So I'm going to do a slip stitch in the top of that chain 3, right about in there, and just slip stitch and then pull it tight and cut my purple because I'm done with that. Like I said, there's lots of ends to weave in with this pattern, but it's worth it because it's so pretty. All right, and so now I'm gonna pick my next color and get started on the next round. Okay, now I'm going to use my next color, which I decided to do light purple. And I'm going to start with a standing single crochet. So I have my slip knot on my hook. And I am going to go into where I just did my slip stitch and join, which is the top of my last 3 chains from the last round. And this is a really good opportunity to save myself a little bit of time of weaving in these ends. So I'm kind of right here sandwiching this end in between my single crochets. So I'm doing a single crochet there, and I'm going to do 7. I'm still going to do a single crochet in the top of each of the double crochets from the last round. And I'm sandwiching my little end in here. You can see I'm kind of like putting that in the middle to save myself a little bit of end weaving in. And 6, 7. Okay, now you get to do the fun part. This is probably one of my favorite parts of this whole thing. You're gonna do a double crochet, but I think this is called a spike stitch, where you're gonna go all the way down to this hole right here. Sorry, my dogs are a little crazy in the background right now. Wrap around like you're going to do a double crochet and go all the way down there and pull up. So you're doing a regular double crochet, but you're kind of just going into this space instead. So this gives it a flowery shape. And then you're going to go ahead and do a slip stitch again, or sorry, a single crochet in the top of all of these double crochets from the last round. So that's going to be 7 single crochets. And now I'm back again to doing my double crochet. May or may not be called a spike stitch. I'm not sure. Okay, and then I'm going to do 7. So this continues. As you guessed, you're going to be doing this 6 times. I'm on the 3rd time here, doing my 7 single crochets, and then my spike stitch double crochet. Okay, and that's what it's starting to look like. I'm going to do this all the way around, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so now I've gone all the way around with my light purple, my 3rd color, and I've done my 7 single crochets and a double crochet spike stitch 6 times all the way around. And now I'm going to do a slip stitch in my very first single crochet and fasten this off. And I'll be ready to change colors and start my last round of color. And it's starting to look really good. All right, I'm ready to do my last round and my last color. Well, my last round of color, I actually do, just to clarify, on these, I do another round on every single one of gray. So this is my last colorful round. I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is just going to be double crochets mostly. So I'm going to start again with my slip knot on my hook. And I'm going to wrap around, do a standing double crochet to start in that same spot where I joined my last round. And I've got my double crochet there. And it looks a little wonky, so maybe I'll try it one more time. This is how it goes. So standing double crochets are like that. Usually though, yeah, this one's looking a little bit better. It's got this kind of funny little bump right here, you can see, but it'll look okay once I get done. So, all right, I'm gonna do 3 more of these double crochets, and just right in the top of the single crochets from the last round. All right, and now I have arrived at the top of the petal. So this is the petal, and I'm in the top. So now I'm gonna do a chain and do another single or double crochet in the same spot. So this is just making it, again, the shape looking more hexagon-y on top of these petals. Okay, so now I'm gonna go along here until I get to the top of the next one, which I believe is gonna be 8 more double crochets. This is kind of hard to count, strangely. Okay. So here I am again in the top of the next petal. So let me go back and count this, okay? So here's where I did my chain. So here's a double crochet, chain, double crochet. And then from there I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 more. And now I'm ready to do my chain and another double crochet in here. So you're actually doing, so when you're counting this, you're actually doing 9 double crochets in between each chain, if that helps you count it. So, or you could count just 7 double crochets here, and that's when you do your double crochet, chain, double crochet, then 7 more just kind of plain double crochets along, and then you do this at the top. And it'll look, you can tell by looking too that it's at the top of your petal. So you're going to do that all the way around. So you should have 6 of these again, this double crochet, chain, double crochets all lined up at the top of the petal. And then you'll be done with that color, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, here we are. I have done my pattern all the way around, where I do the double crochet, chain, double crochet at the top of each petal. So I have that 6 times now. And now I am joining up with my first, I'm just gonna, again, single crochet in the top of my first standing double crochet that I did here. And this kind of looks like it has a big space in it, and I'm kind of gonna fudge that when I weave in these ends of this green here. So that's kind of a problem I've encountered with this. Okay, so I'm just going to fasten it off. Is when you start it this way, I don't know why, but there kind of is a little bit of a weird, too big of a space. So I am just going to kind of work that when I weave in these green ends. I'll kind of like pull them down in here and make that space look less than it is now. All right, so that is really, you could stop here. That is an African flower. But like I showed you earlier with my sample, this one's kind of dark colored. Let me pull in. Here, I put gray around the edge of every single one as well. And here's what it's looking like when I'm sewing. I'm using the gray to sew together the blanket. And so there's this neutral gray in between every single one. So if you want to do something like that, or you just want to make one more round on it, I will show you what I do for the very last round of gray. Okay, here I am with my light gray that I kind of just use as a border when I'm making these into a blanket. And I am actually going to do another standing single crochet, and I'm going to start in the chain 1 space that's in between. So there was in the green here, there was a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. I'm going to go in through the space here between the two, and I'm going to do a standing single crochet. I'm actually going to do 2 standing single crochets in that space. Okay, so it looks like that. And that's just making like that point a little bit more pronounced. And then I'm going to go in the top of the double crochet and go along here in the tops of all these double crochets. And I'm going to actually pick up this green a little bit and weave in this end as I go. So I'm sandwiching this green again in here. Okay, so now I've done a single crochet in the top of every single one of these double crochets. And now I'm here in that chain space. And I'm doing two chains in there. And then I keep going across the top. And I'll just finish this last one and tell you kind of the stitch count that I do here. Okay. So all right, so I do these two single crochets in the space of the chain one space, and then I do just regularly along here, kind of plain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 across, 2 in the chain one space, 9 more, 2 in the chain one space. So I go around. So I'm actually going to have 66 stitches in this gray round by the time I finish, and then I will fasten it off. And maybe this is redundant, but I'm going to just show you just so you're clear that now I've gone around, I've got 66 gray single crochets here, and I am going to finish with another slip stitch in my first standing single crochet. And then I'm going to pull it tight and cut it off. And I'm done. And I love it. And now I just have to deal with all of these ends and just tying them up together so that it doesn't unravel. And then I can sew this into my blanket if I want. I just use a whip stitch to sew these edges together with the other hexagons. Or you could use this and you could make all kinds of stuff out of this. Like I said, I think I'd love to make these with a smaller hook and a thinner yarn and maybe make like coasters out of them. I don't know. There's a million things you could do. And that is how you crochet an African flower hexagon.